Hello and welcome to our broadcast today. I'm very excited to present this to you. It's around integrating ethnic studies with the visual and performing arts. I've got some wonderful educator experts here with us today to talk about the great work they've done in this area and to tell you a little bit how easy and productive and wonderful it is to merge these two disciplines together. So first of all, I want to thank you all for coming. Lisa Ruiz, Megan Kraft, Jennifer LeBrun, and Harpreet Deer. Thank you all for your great work that you've done in this arena and for joining me here today in the studio.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, you've done a lot of work in this area, so it's great that we can talk about it and share the resources you've created with educators from across the state. So just to bring everyone to the same page, as we know, ethnic studies is now a graduation requirement for high school students here in California. It was signed into law by Governor Newsom in 2021. And the good news about it is it adds a lot of flexibility. Schools need to have something in place for the 2025 school year in time for that graduating class of 29-30. But there's a lot of flexibility. They can create a standalone ethnic studies course. It can be something they already have existing, would count for that. And the exciting thing is it can be integrated into other curriculum areas. So we're excited about that because we're going to talk about how it meets with visual and performing arts. And then they can create something from scratch as well. So lots of options. There's a lot of creative things going on. So we're talking about VAPA today. Let's start with this question just to bring our audience all on the same page. What does the visual and performing arts represent? And tell us a little bit on why it's so important.
So the visual and performing arts include dance and choir and theater and media arts and visual arts. And the reason that it's so important is because the arts speak to our soul. The arts connect us as human beings, and because the arts are so malleable as far as the ways that they're taught, the teaching strategies in the arts disciplines are incredibly flexible so that they can be easily integrated across the content. And in addition to that, they're also a way, because of the flexibility and the opportunities for voice and choice, students are able to express themselves, they're able to dive deeper into self-reflection, to peel back the layers of the onions when we're talking about identity and we're talking about community belonging and all of these things that are very important in ethnic studies. In addition to that, they provide multiple entry points to connect with the curriculum for all learners.
And not just ethnic studies, but
right.
English language arts,
all of it.
Math, science, all of them, right? Great. And of course, we want that opportunity for all our students across the nation, right? From the youngest ages on.
If it's good for one, it's good for them all.
I like that. That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. Talk to us a little bit, Megan, about the current requirements for visual performing arts.
So Ed Code spells it out for grades 1 through 6 and then grades 7 through 12. And it is written such that visual arts are meant to be incorporated into the curriculum during the regular school minutes. Currently, our California standards are written all the way down to TK and pre-K and all the way up to 12th grade. So while Ed Code only specifies 1st grade to 12th grade, we serve PK through 12. And not only that, in high school, they have an F requirement, which is fine arts and then some, but that is the piece that most arts live in for graduation as their graduation requirement.
So it doesn't have to be an add-on. It can be, like you said, we talked about integrated into other subject areas. It shouldn't be as big a lift as I think people are intimidated.
Absolutely. And it should be incorporated into the other curriculum, as Lisa said, which is a very easy and elegant fit in the elementary level, but also can provide an easy and elegant fit in the high school level when they're trying to find places where arts can live. It can be incorporated into all of these subjects, ethnic studies being the newest, but all of the different curriculum and all of the different disciplines.
I agree. And what kid doesn't want to be involved in some form of visual and performing arts? For a lot of kids, that's the hook for them.
Right.
Right? To be in school, to come to school, to make their learning relevant and personal, touching their soul, as you said, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So the Ethnic Studies model curriculum, which was adopted by our state board, as you know, has outlined different outcomes that they want to see come out of ethnic studies courses in whatever form it takes, whether it's integrated, standalone, or whatever. They want to see pursuit of equity and justice. They want to see working toward greater inclusivity. Self-understanding, we're going to talk about how this fits so nicely with that. That developing understanding of others, which we're going to talk about with visual and performing arts. The whole idea of intersectionality is powerful. I know, Harpreet, you're going to speak to that. Self-empowerment, civic engagement, community focus, and of course that interpersonal. So these are the 8 outcomes. So let's drill down a little bit and talk specifically how visual and performing arts helps teachers meet some of these outcomes. Help us with that, please.
So it can actually do that in 3 different ways. The first is really focusing on enhancing the learning in any of the curricular areas, any of the subject areas. So the visual and performing arts, it really encourages creativity, which then students can think outside the box. They can think of innovative solutions to real life problems and have those real life applications. Visual and performing arts also really encourages critical thinking. So students are getting a deeper understanding of the world around them, including things like cultural contexts, historical narratives, just social issues that relate to them and their family and people that they care about. So really kind of bringing together visual and performing arts and ethnic studies is about the humanity that exists in all of these subject areas. The second thing is that it's really about promoting cultural competence. So students, when they're engaged in visual and performing arts, it actually allows them to connect to their own identities and their own experiences, as well as the identities and experiences of other people. That's really kind of at the heart of what VAPA is about, and that's that connection there to ethnic studies, understanding who they are, who other people are, and how do we get along when we have disagreements and differences, and understanding that that's actually a good thing.
What a natural way to introduce students to other cultures, but through the arts, right?
Oh, yes.
Right? That's so powerful.
I mean, that's how people project themselves, through art.
Yes.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Something that I really appreciate about both VAPA and ethnic studies is the sort of establishment of the global mindset. You know, so much of, I guess, maybe my childhood was standardized testing, and you just need to know the standards and you just need to pass the test. But we really are trying to understand that there's so much more to every single child, including their artistic expression and their love and their worries about, you know, things that are going on in their lives. And really that's sort of, you know, that is ethnic studies in a nutshell, is, well, who am I and what do I care about and what do I worry about? So they can express themselves, you know, using theater and dance and visual arts to express how they feel about those things that they love and that they worry about.
It's just going to come naturally, right? And if we promote it, we value it, it'll just blossom all the more. It's such a win-win, right? Don't you think? Yeah, so thank you so much for explaining that to us. You guys have created some wonderful resources, easy to use for teachers to pick up and use, to get acquainted with that. Harpreet, talk us through some of the things that you have created. There are 7 modules.
Yes.
And talk us through just briefly what each of them do and how we use the visual and performing arts to get to those goals of ethnic studies.
Well, we've designed these modules in such a way that it's gentle approach, but we are addressing some very complex topics through that gentle approach. So it's not simple, but at the same time, there's simpleness to it in a very elegant way. And I would say the unit begins with these modules where students explore their self identity, they develop their self-understanding, and you have to have that in order to understand others around you, and that's the main goal, that they understand themselves and others, as well as that their personalities are shaped by environment, people, their beliefs, their culture, their religion, whatever forces are around them, that your personality has that intersectionality to it. So the VAPA experiences that will help them get there are studying facial expressions, for example, and hair, and how do you, even simple things like how do I dress every morning? That is, a lot of the teenagers or kids think they decided this is how they're going to dress. But when I say, are you sure you decided this is how you're going to dress? Didn't the weather decide how you were going to dress? First of all, fashion, so many different things. So intersectionality is a big part of ethnic studies, and I believe VAPA experiences make it more comprehensible for kids. And then the unit shifts into the community focus. So from me to now us, okay, the community focus. And that is where students experience mixed media me activity, or I should say experience, and they explore their local geography, their local communities, and who was there a long time ago, who is there now, the indigenous groups of the area, how they are still present and how they're still shaping what we do. And there's more who have joined that beautiful place. So how is my area growing? And then at the same time, then we go toward the end parts of the unit, like module 6 and 7, and that's where we combine the two focuses, where it's me and we together. So self-understanding and community focus together. So the students explore what are their change maker powers. Even, TK, you were talking about TK, even tying your shoelaces and helping your friend tie shoelaces can be my change maker power. It doesn't have to be something huge. So whatever your change making powers are, then they design a power accessory that goes on their mixed media me, so you get to wear it. You sort of become an icon of something you stand for. And students understand icon with technology. They know what buttons to push on the screen, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the icons are comprehensible. They become a three-dimensional icon in a way. And that is now, how do you contribute to the society around you? So that becomes the focus toward the conclusion of this unit. They have inquiry groups, sort of like their passion groups. And then whatever problem you're solving, which outcome, you were talking about outcomes earlier, ethnic studies 8 outcomes, which outcome does it fall under? So they become very aware of these outcomes and how the problems they're solving actually correspond to those outcomes. So there's this visual arts and performing arts and ethnic studies all playing a role. At the same time, there's, it's a delicious dish, and then you're throwing seasonings of, like, there's ELA for you, and there's the history social science for you, and there's science. So it becomes an interdisciplinary unit in that sense. So that's how we've designed it, and we've made it very user-friendly for teachers, because these standards are written there, objectives are written there, so teachers just have to teach.
Yeah. Oh, you have it all spelled out?
It's all spelled out.
It's beautiful. What you've done
gorgeous.
is just marvelous.
Yes.
And I just so love how it starts with self, but it doesn't stop there. Understanding others and kind of concentric circles, and how we
Yes.
fit in the world, and how the
Yes.
arts can just really project that and express that in so many ways. That's fabulous. Yeah. So I understand you have some video you've shared with us of some students engaged in theater, in dance, that kind of exemplifies how the two can be merged together. Before we look at it, Harpreet, tell us a little about the students we're going to see.
So these students are students of Khalsa School in Riverside, and more specifically Harupa Valley. And the video is filmed at the Sikh Gurdwara, which is a Sikh place of learning. And in this, you will see students who are multi-age in the group. So there's 9, 10-year-olds all the way to high school. And these kids are wearing, we call it bana, meaning their clothes that project their personalities and everything they know heart-wise and mind-wise. Including martial arts, including their language, including music, so that what they're wearing projects all of that. Okay. And it's very powerful. And students they move a lot in these spaces, so they're used to moving, and a lot of it is based on they're used to having experiences versus somebody just lecturing them. So they're used to the whole idea of an experience and experiential learning. So this was interesting. We picked this group because we do want to contextualize this in terms of ethnic studies and visual arts. So we thought to bring a diverse group of students and some students who are considered minority in a mainstream sense. And the research says 60% of them get bullied in schools. So it was important that way too, to highlight these students, how they project themselves, who they are, and how their life experiences are.
So Megan, tell us briefly, what are we going to see them doing?
So you will see them doing, there are two experiences that we offered. One is called a walkabout, and it is where students use their bodies to move around a space that is designated with the effort to pay attention to how they move through the world, but also pay attention to how others move around the world. And by doing so, they are learning to honor each other, make space, use their nonverbal communication to communicate, and they all have to work together. So this lives in the working together, but also how am I affected by others and how do I affect others? And so you will see that as one of them.
Let's take a moment and look at this great demonstration.
Let's see if we can make sure that we use the whole space and we don't bump. Go walk. And freeze. Hey, now, I see a lot of people who are kind of scared because their hands are in their pockets and we're hiding. Can we not hide? Let your body be free, arms out, eyes up. And when you walk next to somebody, when you see someone, make eye contact with them. Make sure you see them. Continue walking. Hands out, make eye contact with each other, see each other. See each other. Ooh, that feels a little different, doesn't it? And there's giggling.
That's scary.
Why? Why is it scary?
I was the one who said that because
Oh my gosh, is it scary to be seen?
yeah.
Your body thinks that it's scary when someone stares at you for a while. Your body's like, oh, this person's like staring at me for a while.
Interesting. So we think staring and looking at each other can be kind of threatening. Do you know why? We've forgotten to look at each other. So we're now getting used to it again. Because all of us are friendly in this room, right? No one's threatening. So when we make eye contact, this time, let's add a smile and a little wave. So they know you're friendly. Ready? Continue walking. Make friends. And remember not to bump. And remember we have the entire space. And remember we are all friends. And remember we don't want to clump. Calming and relaxing. Different than how you felt when you started, right? What else? How did that feel?
Heart steel.
It felt what?
Heart steel.
Oh, really? Explain.
Like it just felt so good and it steals your heart.
Okay, heart still is not a term I've known, but yes, it stilled your heart. It allowed you to be comfortable in this space and it's doing something that you've never done before.
Like it takes out all your stress.
Takes out all your stress. Why does it take out all your stress? Why do you think we do that? Yeah.
Because it's like calming and you know everyone's friendly around you.
Okay, so we created a friendly environment. We also, how about your movement? How was that not scary?
It wasn't scary because you told us to wave at each other and be like really friendly.
Okay, so we were making space for each other. What else? What else about that movement was super friendly and comfortable? Yeah.
We didn't like put our hands in our pockets or anything. We tried to
Okay, you let your body be loose, right? This makes us scared because we tense up, so we let our body relax. How about walking? Did you all know how to walk?
yeah.
So you were all successful before we even started, right? Yeah. So we were learning how to make space for each other. We were learning how to breathe.
We were learning to be comfortable in our own skin, but we were learning to make other people feel comfortable too. Isn't that a cool exercise? And all we did was walk around. And then the other experience is called add and subtract. And this is, again, a body exercise where students use their bodies to enter a space and exit a space. And as they are doing this, it's using other bodies to build living art. So they're adding, subtracting on their own time, and all the while watching what's going on inside the space. And again, nonverbal communication, so there's no talking, but they are building on each other, subtracting from each other, and working together to create this moment. This one requires that we're going to make pictures in the space. So we are going to build art on our bodies, okay? So what we are going to do is have our space have an in and an out. The out is going to be right here against these tables. This is going to be the out. So when you're out, you're standing against the tables. When you're in the space. Anytime you're in the space, you are making a shape with your body, however you would like. And I'm going to make a shape with my body like this. Okay, now, I'm standing here making a picture. I'm gonna choose you. You get to come into this space and you can make any shape you want. You have a couple choices. You can build a shape somewhere else. You can build a shape with me. You can do the same shape as me. You have lots of choices. So come on in and make a shape somewhere. All right, and now we are making shapes together. Now, if I want to change my shape, I have to go out first so I can look at what's happening. So I decide I'm leaving, you stay. Okay, and I'm going to look at all this empty space. But I really want to build on what she's doing over there. So I'm going to go and I'm going to attach myself to her body. Now, if she wants to leave, she can leave. Go ahead. And now I have to hold mine. Now my story has changed. So can you come in and add? What are you going to add? What other pictures do our lots of balancing going on? What else does our space need? Remember to come out before you go back in to try things.
She's got me.
About 30 more seconds. And then, when you're ready, come out and we're going to call our game to an end. Wow, I love all these pieces. What did you notice about that game? That was different. What did you notice? What happened? Yeah.
It's like we're building friends or some sort.
Oh, maybe it's like we're building friends because you have to work together, don't you? Yeah, what did you notice?
I think that we're building our own self.
You're building yourself. Oh my goodness, we're building ourselves because we have to build, but other people have to build with us. It's very community, isn't it? What do you think?
We're like making pieces, and then other people join the group to make a bigger.
Okay, so this is all very much everybody's building and building on the foundation. Yeah, what do you think?
I noticed that a lot of people were like attaching with other people.
Okay, a lot of people were working together, weren't they, to make similar pictures? That was interesting.
So we just saw a wonderful demonstration. Jen, I know you don't think of yourself as a strong visual and performing arts educator, but based on what we just saw, what did you see going on?
What I love about it and what I love about working with Megan is that she is making this accessible for non-dancers or non-theater people. So at first, you might hear the word dance or theater and be really intimidated, and I have to know, certain things to come in and be a part of this. But with something like the walkabout, all you need to be able to do is move and be able to listen and follow directions. And one of the sort of beautiful parts of it is when they really truly start to listen to each other. They're not just listening to the person giving the directions anymore, but now they're actually listening to each other silently, which it was just sort of eye-opening with how they were aware of each other before, but they really started to work as sort of one group, one organism, and so that was really cool.
So for someone who's not really comfortable in that space,
Yes.
do you feel like
Yes.
You could use this with kids without?
Yes. So
Great.
my background is English. You know, I work with ELD students. Even somebody like me who has never had personal experience, you know, doing these kind of activities, the directions are sort of scripted out. The questions, you know, to ask are scripted so that somebody could go into it just with an open mind and try it, and would be successful, you know, sort of at whatever level you are
Great.
personally.
Well, that's what we want, right? Yeah, to get others involved. And Lisa, you are very steeped in this area. Unravel it a little more. What did you see as the power of an exercise like this?
It's pretty magical. I've seen Megan do this several times over the last couple of years with all age groups, all learners, from the youngest students all the way to adults. And the most interesting thing, most fascinating thing for me to see was that from the very beginning, they didn't, because of the community that we were in, the way that they move through the world and the way that they carry themselves and just the way that they think about being was evident from the very beginning. Every other time that I've seen Megan do this with a group, people circle up. They get the first instructions and they start to move a little bit and then they circle up. And then she pauses and she points that out and she says, how can we fix that? And they all look at each other. And so it takes a little while. But this group of students, because it's a non-Western way of moving through the world and being, they didn't do that.
Yeah,
They were moving around as individuals from the very beginning. It took them a little bit to begin thinking as one, but it didn't take them as long. It didn't take them as long as it does in the groups that I've seen her work with before. It was fascinating.
Well, because you're valuing where they come from and how they relate to space and move in space in a very non-Western way. And that's all about ethnic studies, valuing who you are, understanding deeply, understanding each other. So I bet it would look and feel very different with different groups of kids.
Absolutely.
And imagine a whole very diverse group of kids, how much powerful learning would take place in a simple exercise. So thank you for doing that and sharing that with us. I think it's very powerful for our teachers to see how easy and how extremely important it can be. So thank you.
Thank you.
So I know people are going to be very excited to see this, get their hands on it, and start breaking through some of those challenges. You know, even our phobia people who are a little nervous with the arts, the way you've designed it makes it very user-friendly. So we're grateful to all of you and the great work you've done. Okay? All right, so thank you for the work. Thank you for coming today and sharing briefly. All of this will be available on our state website for teachers to use, TK through 12. And I know the modules don't have specific grade levels, but they can easily be modified for different age groups, right?
Yes, we left that open on purpose because each classroom is different and each teacher approach is different. And we wanted to leave enough flexibility that the teacher could approach for their students.
Very smart, very smart. Okay, thank you. All right.
Thank you.
So there you have it, another approach to integrating ethnic studies into a content area. We think of it typically as English or history, social science, but get those visual and performing arts teachers on board and get all the other teachers on board to bring the VAPA into their classrooms as well. So I think this is a wonderful resource. I hope you find it useful as we all move forward to help our young people understand themselves, their understanding of others, and the world we live in, to garner more respect, caring, and a more fruitful, peaceful society that we live in. So thank you very much for watching.